Have you noticed how you've been quiet? Not just on the outside, but also on the inside. Like something shifted. The noise got turned down, and suddenly you're left alone with your own voice. It's strange, isn't it? How silence, the very thing we usually avoid, ends up being the one place where everything starts to make sense. In the quiet, you see yourself clearly, you feel what you've been running away from, and maybe, for the first time in a long time, you hear what you really needed. And that's what this episode is about. Not the noise, the silence. Good morning. Let's have coffee. Welcome to the Toto Yende podcast. If you've joined us for the very first time, my name is Toto Yende, and today's topic is what the silence taught me. There is something uncomfortable about silence, especially when it's your own. For a while now, I've been quiet. No episodes, no updates, just life. And if I'm being honest, I wasn't too sure if I'd come back not because I didn't want to, but because I wasn't sure if I had something to say or if anybody was still listening. But in the silence, I learned. I learned that rest isn't failure, that healing doesn't always make noise, that growth often happens in the background when no one is watching and no one is clapping. I learned that being still isn't quitting. Sometimes it's preparation. You see, we live in a world, friends, that rewards constant movement, the hustle, production, noise. What happens when the world gets too loud and your own soul whispers, "Be still"? That's where I've been. In the quiet, in the waiting. And what I want to share with you today is a real story. That silence doesn't kill our purpose. It clarifies it. So let's talk about silence for a second. Not the kind when the power goes out or when your phone is on airplane mode. I'm talking about that inner silence. The kind that shows up when you've run out of words or you're sitting alone and you'd rather avoid those thoughts. Let's put it that way. That silence can feel scary, doesn't it? It's like standing in a room with your own reflection and realizing you don't recognize the person that's staring back at you. But here's what I've learned. That silence is not empty. It's the full truth, full of messages we'd rather drown out with noises. In my silence, I learned some hard truths. I heard, you are tired because you've been trying to be everything to everyone. I heard, you've been talking more than you've been listening, even to yourself. And I heard, maybe you've tied your wealth to how productive you are and not who you really are. Have you ever had that moment when you realize that you've been moving but not going anywhere? Like you've been working, posting, publishing, but still you feel stuck. Yeah, that was me. And in the silence, I had to admit it. I was busy but not present. I was loud but not clear. I was performing and not being. But that's the beauty of silence. It humbles you. It brings you face to face with the real you, not the filtered version, not the one who is presented so that everybody understands. It brings you face to face with the real one, the real person who's afraid but still trying, who's broken but still showing up. And honestly, that isn't what we all are. People trying, isn't that what we all are? People trying to make sense of our lives between all the noise. Silence, friends, taught me that healing isn't always a shout. Sometimes it's a whisper. That restart doesn't need permission, just courage. And that you don't need to be on all the time. Just being still is enough. So, if you've been in a quiet session, and if you've stepped away from something that's made you feel alive, or if you've just been surviving in the world that tells you to always go, maybe this is the moment for you to breathe. And remember, you're allowed to rest. You're allowed to pause. And you absolutely allowed to begin again. So, what did the silence teach me? It taught me that absence doesn't mean abandonment. That pausing doesn't mean failure. And that coming back doesn't have to look like you ever left. You don't need to have it all figured out to return to the mic, the gym, the page, or the dream. You just need to decide, I'm not done yet. And neither are you. If there is something calling you back, a habit, a purpose, a vision of something or yourself lost long ago, then maybe today is that reminder. You are allowed to come back different. You are allowed to come back softer. But most of all, you are allowed to come back stronger. Thank you for sitting with me today, friends. Thank you for letting me speak again. From the silence to your ears. If this episode spoke to you, and if you've been on your own quiet session, I'd love for you to share that story with me. Or share this episode with someone you might believe needs to hear it. Leave a comment. Message me. Tell me what silence taught you. And next week, we will be going in even deeper on our podcast. But for now, be kind to yourself. Be patient with your progress. And know that you're not alone. And it's never too late to restart. Good morning. Let's have coffee.